Hi, I'm Steven. You can now watch UCF TV 24 hours a day on Bright House Digital Channel 1.
Coming up next on UCF Sports Night, he was one of UCF's most beloved players on the court, and now he's taking his talents to a different arena. We visit with Mike O'Donnell. And the spring sports season is about to begin. We've got a preview. All that and more now on UCF Sports Night.
UCF Sports Night is brought to you by UCF TV. Today's show is also presented in part by Budweiser, the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Open up a world of taste. By the energy-saving conservation programs of Tico People's Gas. And by Syntex Homes, proud to support UCF Athletics.
Hello and welcome to UCF Sports Night. I'm Jeff Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a great new year. The UCF men's basketball team tried to close out 2008 on a high note at the UCF Holiday Classic. But it was a tougher task than you might think in their 2 games in the Classic, as they took on one team which was a perennial NCAA tournament participant and another that featured the nation's second leading scorer. Let's take a look at the highlights. The Knights' first game of the Holiday Classic saw them matching up with the Quakers of Penn out of the Ivy League. It was a close one for much of the first half, but the Knights pulled away in the second thanks to JT, Jermaine Taylor. 14 of 21 from the field and tying a career high with 34 points in just 26 minutes. He put on a show in the second half, sealing the deal and giving the Knights their 5th home win of the season. Final at the arena, 81-64. The Knights move on to the championship game of the UCF Holiday Classic, where they went up against Chicago State, who sported the nation's second leading scorer. But again, it was Jermaine Taylor who stole the show. Here he sparked the Knights with a tremendous jam on the break, and he dominated in the first half with 24 points before the break. Second half, more Jermaine. He would finish with a career-high 38 points on 13 of 22 from the field en route to his second UCF Holiday Classic Tournament Most Valuable Player Award. Not to be outdone, A.J. Ramsa, who put the clamps on the Cougars' David Holston. Holston had 40 the night before. He shot just 4 of 17, though, against UCF, thanks to A.J., who also took home all tournament honors. Final score 89-75. UCF gets the win and takes the UCF Holiday Classic Championship.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. We really didn't play any defense. I think we were a little lazy on defense. Came out a little, I say a little complacent maybe. But we picked it up in the second half, and that's when we were able to get that lead.
The women's basketball team closed out the calendar year of 2008 in Tallahassee against Florida State. Unfortunately, a late UCF rally came up just short, 82-70 the final. Chelsea Wiley finished with a team-high 24 points in the loss. So the Knights began the new year by opening conference play on Saturday against a very good Southern Miss team, one of the favorites in CUSA. It was a physical game between the two rivals, and it was close throughout. But in the end, Emma Cannon made the difference. 9 of 15 from the field, 18 points and 9 rebounds for her. She was a force on the inside all night for UCF. On the outside, it was Chelsea Wiley who came up big. With a pair of threes, she finished with 10 points on the night. Also, Aisha Patrick chipped in with a dozen, and Jelly Mealing hit some key free throws down the stretch to finish with 13 points. The Knights' defense was solid, forcing 24 Golden Eagle turnovers, and they get the win 65-59, and the Knights 1-0 in Conference USA play.
It feels good. We went out there hungry. We remember that feeling from last year, and we went over our scouting reports, and we just wanted to go out and win. So we played with a lot of heart tonight, so it felt real good.
Just a couple hours after that, the men took the floor for the first time in 2009 against a team that's been a real pain for them in recent years, Sam Houston State. And it looked like more of the same early as the Knights struggled out of the gates. But then they went on an 18-0 run, culminating in 3 straight three-pointers, and took a 10-point lead, and they would not look back. Jermaine Taylor had just 3 points in the first half, but added 23 in the second to lead all scorers. A.J. Ramsa added 15 points and was a perfect 10 for 10 at the free throw line. UCF came up with its 7th straight home win to start the season and 11th straight overall, 86-70 the final over Sam Houston State, as the Knights have one more game before conference play begins. All right, and for more information on all UCF sports, all you have to do is log on to www.ucfathletics.com, your home for UCF sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right, don't go away, because coming up next here on UCF Sports Night, he's one of the Knights' most beloved basketball players who couldn't stay away from the game. We'll show you what Mike O'Donnell is up to these days when UCF Sports Night returns. Fans join the men's basketball team Saturday, January 10th for their Conference USA opener against last year's NCAA runners-up, the Memphis Tigers. Tip-off is at 5 p.m. at UCF Arena, and tickets are still available by calling 407-UCF-1000 or by logging on to UCFathletics.com. Welcome back to UCF Sports Night. Mike O'Donnell was one of the best basketball players to ever don the black and gold. But after he graduated last summer, Mike found himself in a position where just about every other college graduate finds himself at some point, in search of a job. Well, fortunately, he didn't have to stray far. He's now a graduate assistant with the Golden Knights Club. But it's his nighttime gig that has everybody talking, especially him. He's the new radio analyst for UCF basketball. We get the inside story of what Mike O'Donnell is up to these days in our Sports Night Spotlight.
Last year, towards the end of last year, Mark had originally spoken to me a few times about, hey, what are you doing next year? You're going to be around the UCF area, you're going to be going to school, or you're going to be getting your master's, which I am now. And they said, if you are, we might like to have you come on and do a couple games for the radio, because I believe Troy Lindback and Josh Bowden did a few games last year with Mark.
Mike had actually talked about possibly doing that when he had learned that we had former players, some guys that he played with, getting involved. So I spoke to him last year and said, look, when the opportunity comes about, maybe we can see about next season for you. And that's kind of where the idea developed. And as Mike stayed at UCF and went to school, as the season came upon us, that's where the idea came about.
And it just kind of snowballed into where he's like, Mike, I think we're going to have you try to bring you on full time.
Fought for, picked up Jermaine Taylor. He's got 3-on-1 to Ramsa, up to Jermaine for the dunk.
Those two work so well together in the fast break. They know where they're going to be at all times. Great looking execution on offense.
I really didn't have any experience in radio. I always have been very intrigued by it. I wanted to major in radio TV here at UCF. Didn't quite have the opportunity just because of the amount of work that was involved. I didn't think I'd be able to get all the work done that I needed to in an appropriate way, just because I had so much traveling and the amount of time that was involved in college basketball.
Not free, picked up by Ramsa. Knights have a 3-on-1. A.J. Ramsa bounce pass to Taylor Young to Jermaine Taylor, who gets the tip in.
That's a great athletic play by Jermaine. Not a very good alley-oop by T.Y., but he knows what he's doing. It's
really fun. I get to analyze the game, and I have a good time. I know the players and I know the system. So in terms of that transition, it's been fairly easy. But just working with Mark, it's really been a blast.
Isaac has to come out. He's got to do that in the first half.
He knows the game. There's no question about it. He knows everything that UCF does. So, Kurt thinks Mike's thinking right there. And if Mike wants to continue to do this, continue on the analyst side, I think Mike can be very, very good. He understands the college game extremely well.
I'll be done with grad school next year, and so I'll be definitely doing radio next year as well, as long as, they'll have me back. But, who knows what the future holds, but I certainly would have no problem staying here for a good amount of time, because I really love it here.
All right, coming up next on UCF Sports Night, if you thought the fall was awesome for UCF Sports, wait till you see what we have on tap for the spring. We've got a preview when UCF Sports Night returns. Fans join the men's basketball team Saturday, January 10th for their Conference USA opener against last year's NCAA runners-up, the Memphis Tigers. Tip-off is at 5 p.m. at UCF Arena, and tickets are still available by calling 407-UCF-1000 or by logging on to UCFathletics.com. Welcome back to UCF Sports Night. With the fall in the books and now that we're in the new year, it's time to look forward to the spring semester here at UCF. Last spring saw a lot of success for all of UCF sports. For example, the softball team won its first Conference USA championship. All spring sports are looking forward to a very successful 2009, and we've got a quick preview of each of them. Hope springs eternal for UCF's athletic teams this coming semester, and looking to get a jump on the competition is the men's basketball team. Jermaine Taylor and company begin conference play January 10th against last year's national runners-up, the Memphis Tigers. The Knights play 7 other home conference games this semester, finishing up with senior night against East Carolina on March 7th. Then it's off to Memphis for the Conference USA tournament beginning March 11th. Conference play is already underway for Emma Cannon and the women's basketball team. They have 7 more home league games, including 4 in a row against East Carolina, Marshall, Tulsa, and SMU. Then it's off to the Big Easy, New Orleans, for the Conference USA tournament starting March 5th. The spring sports officially get underway on January 16th at UCF. That's when the men's tennis team takes part in its first action of the season, heading out west to play Tulsa. Head coach Bobby Cashman and his team have 11 home matches this spring, beginning with Florida Gulf Coast on January 24th. They take on a total of 6 in-state opponents at home and also head to Gainesville to play the Florida Gators. The Knights also have home court advantage for the Conference USA tournament, which will be at the UCF Tennis Complex over by the Rec Center, April 16th through the 18th. Women's tennis also gets underway on the road on January 16th. They're at the 3-day-long Florida Gulf Coast tournament in Fort Myers. The Knights then have 4 matches against in-state opponents before coming home for 5 straight matches. In total, UCF has 12 home matches this spring against some big names too, including Penn State, Clemson, and Tennessee. The Knights also have road matches against USF and UNF, and they finish the regular season at Stetson before heading to Houston for the Conference USA Championships on the campus of Rice University. Women's track and field also gets off the starting blocks on January 16th in Lexington at the Kentucky Invitational. The Knights have 5 road meets, including 1 at Florida, before the Conference USA Indoor Championships, which are hosted by Houston on February 27th and 28th, and the NCAA Indoor Championships in mid-March. Then the outdoor season begins. UCF kicks off the season with the Black and Gold Challenge at the Track and Field Complex on March 21st. Then the Knights have another home meet, the UCF Invitational, on March 27th and 28th. After 4 more road meets, including the Florida Relays and the Penn Relays, UCF returns home for one last tune-up, the UCF Twilight, on May 9th. Then it's off to the Conference USA Outdoor Championships at Tulsa, May 14th through 16th, and then the NCAA Regionals begin May 29th in Greensboro, North Carolina. February marks the beginning of softball season. The defending Conference USA champs have a huge test at the start of the year as they travel to the home of the defending national champions, Arizona State, for the Kajikawa Classic against some of the best competition in the nation. Then UCF comes home for 18 of its next 19 games, including a pair of tournaments. Conference play starts on March 7th, and Coach Renee Gillespie and the Knights look to defend their Conference USA crown in El Paso, Texas, March 7th through 9th. Baseball also starts February 20th with a home series against Virginia Commonwealth. New head coach Terry Rooney and his team play 11 home games before the start of conference play, including games against Florida and South Florida. They also have other home games against UNF, Florida Gulf Coast, Florida International, and Stetson, as well as 4 home conference series. The conference tournament begins May 20th in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and the NCAA tournament kicks off on May 29th nationwide. Men's and women's golf also get underway in February. Both teams host one regular season event. The men host the Rio Pinar Invitational February 23rd and 24th, and the women host the UCF Challenge in Sorrento, Florida, March 8th through 10th. The men's team also hosts the Conference USA Championships in Sorrento on April 19th through the 20th, while the women have to head out to Tulsa for the league tournament a week earlier. And don't forget the rowing team. They have 2 home meets this spring against Miami on March 29th and the Lady Tigers of Princeton on April 12th. And don't forget football this spring. National Signing Day is this February, and spring practice begins not long after that, culminating in the spring game. So it should be a fantastic spring for UCF sports in 2009. And of course, we're looking forward to bringing you all of the highlights from all the spring sports right here on UCF Sports Night. And for more information on all of UCF sports, be sure to check out UCFathletics.com. Don't go away. Coming up next here on UCF Sports Night, we've got some news and notes for you, and also our Sports Night Plays of the Week. We're back in a moment. Fans join the men's basketball team Saturday, January 10th for their Conference USA opener against last year's NCAA runners-up, the Memphis Tigers. Tip-off is at 5 p.m. at UCF Arena, and tickets are still available by calling 407-UCF-1000 or by logging on to UCFathletics.com. Welcome back to UCF Sports Night. We'll get to our top 3 plays in a moment, but first, here's a look at some news and notes from the week in UCF sports. In men's basketball news, Jermaine Taylor finished off 2008 by being named Conference USA Player of the Week. Taylor was honored for his efforts in the game against Valparaiso, where he hit 6 threes and scored 21 points in just 26 minutes. It's the 3rd time he's been named Conference Player of the Week, but the 1st time this season. Taylor followed up his award-winning week by tying and then breaking his career high for points in the UCF Holiday Classic. And Jermaine was not alone. Chelsea Wiley of the women's basketball team was named Conference USA Player of the Week on December 22nd. The Riviera Beach, Florida native is the first UCF player to win that award in 2 seasons. Wiley unleashed a barrage of threes against Ole Miss that week, hitting 8 of them to tie a school record en route to a career high of 31 points. She's the first Knight to score 30 in a game since Marvelous Washington back in 2002. And in men's golf news, senior David Johnson has a nice new trophy to add to his mantle. He's been named the Florida State Golf Association Player of the Year. Johnson won the Florida State Match Play Championship in Vero Beach back in August and tied for 3rd in the State Amateur Championships in June. The Palm Bay native also performed well for UCF this fall with a pair of top 10s, including 1 second-place finish. David and the Knights get back to business on the links next month. Time now for our Sports Night Plays of the Week. Play number 3, men's basketball against Chicago State. Jermaine Taylor was all over the place in this game, but the most spectacular of his career-high 38 points were these 2 right here. Jermaine with the huge dunk on the fast break, helping UCF to the big lead. Play number 2, women's basketball against Southern Miss. Emma Cannon continues to fill up the stat sheet for the Knights, and here she shows some stick-to-itiveness as she fights for her own rebound and gets the putback. Watch the effort underneath, launching the Knights to their first conference win of the season. But play number one, a team effort again in the men's game against Chicago State. Off the defense, watch A.J. Robson with the sick behind-the-back dribble, draw the defense and kick it out to J.T. for three. See it again as A.J. sets the table for Jermaine. Another big night for both those guys against the Cougars as the Knights took home the UCF Holiday Classic Championship. And those are your Sports Night plays of the week. Basketball continues to be the epicenter as we look toward the week ahead. It all starts on Tuesday when the men's basketball team takes on Holy Cross in its final non-conference game. Tip-off at UCF Arena is set for 7 p.m. And if you can't make it to the game, you can watch online via UCF All Access on UCFathletics.com or on TV on Bright House Sports Network. The women's basketball team takes the floor for its second Conference USA game of the season on Thursday. They head up north to face the Memphis Tigers in Tennessee. That game is scheduled for 8 p.m. and you can listen to the Knights and the Tigers online at UCFathletics.com. Both basketball teams are in action on Saturday, January 10th. The men's team, of course, is at home. They've got their huge conference opener against Memphis at UCF Arena. Tip-off is at 5 p.m. and it is a blackout for all coming to the game. If you can't make it to the Dungeon, the game is televised on CBS College Sports. Meanwhile, the women are in Birmingham, Alabama to take on the Blazers of UAB. Tip-off for that contest is set for 7 p.m. and you can listen on UCFathletics.com. The men's team then follows the women's team to Alabama as they take on the Blazers on Tuesday, January 13th. Tip-off for that game is scheduled for 8 p.m. and you can watch the game on CSS. Monday, January 5th, tune in for the Kirk Spiraw Coaches Show, live from Rival Sports Bar and Grill on Alafaya Trail at 6 p.m. You can listen to Coach talk hoops with the voice of the Knights, Mark Daniels, on AM 540 WFLA, again starting Monday, January 5th. And also debuting the very next day, Tuesday, January 6th, check out UCF Sports Today with Coach Kirk Spiraw, debuting at 4 p.m. on Sun Sports immediately following UCF Sports Night. Coach Spiraw and Mark Daniels go over the previous week's games with plenty of features and highlights. It also airs on Bright House Sports Network and UCF TV. Check your local listings. And don't forget to check out UCF Sports Night every Tuesday on Sun Sports at 3:30 p.m., as well as Tuesdays and Thursdays on Bright House Sports Network and all week on UCF TV. Check your local listings. And for all the latest on all UCF sports, visit UCFathletics.com, your home for UCF sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as always, if you want to check out this episode one more time or all of our archived episodes here at UCF Sports Night, you can anytime you want. All you have to do is log on to www.ucf.tv and click on UCF Sports Night. That is all for us for this week. For all of us here at UCF Athletics and UCF TV, I'm Jeff Sharon saying thank you so much for watching and go Knights!
Hey, this is LT from 101.1 WJRR. You're listening to the best sounds of area music. UCF Athletics, Access Magazine, and WJRR are proud to support local artists. You can find more great artists by going online at www.wjrr.com and also accessmag.com. And by listening to Native Noise each and every Sunday at 11 o'clock.
UCF Sports Night has been brought to you by UCF TV. Today's show is also presented in part by Bright House Networks. See how bright life can be. By Holler Classic, the official automotive group of the UCF Knights. And by Coca-Cola. Welcome to the Coke side of life.